Hey everyone, Brian Hutchison, Global Career Guy, here for episode 115. Now, if this video is surprising you and I'm saying it's episode 115, it may be because I've been in a bit of a hiatus for several months now, but I'm interested in starting back up this sort of fly on the wall approach to my everyday thoughts and thinking about career development, coaching, and counseling as I go through my normal day as both a university professor, a career coach, a clinical supervisor, a consultant, public speaker, researcher, and the other things that I do. Today, what I really want to talk about is I attended the Northeast American, Northeast America version of APCDA's regional meetings. And these are just opportunities to get together, to come together as a community of practice, but also to just talk about the issues as we think about the COVID pandemic and how we work with clients and what we might expect around the world of work. I wanted to share just a few thoughts that I had coming out of before today's meeting, going into it, and then they sort of got flushed out a little bit coming out of it. The first thing I'd like to say is I'm a bit skeptical of prediction at this stage. A research study just came out this past week from the University of Chicago School of Business, where they surveyed experts in macroeconomic forecasting, labor markets, and things like that. And the consensus was mixed because there are just too many variables right now to think about what post-COVID world of work might look like, and what the jobs that are available and what getting back, as we say, might look like. Just imagine this: the difference between a vaccine being available on January 1st, 2021 versus a vaccine being available on January 1st, 2022. That's a huge confounding variable that would make prediction right now more an exercise of educated guesswork. But here's three things that I think that I'm reading that might come out of this. So the first thing is more from the organizational development, HRD field, or someone that works on the employer side. I think the big theme coming out of this, and while we're in it, is the idea of organizational trust. So now organizations, corporations, agencies, government entities, they're having to make changes both to adjust to the current circumstances of COVID, but also to try to make policy changes and practice changes for the future world of work, even though they can't predict it either. And so as I see these changes happening, the initial response from the employee, from the worker, is really based on the amount of organizational trust. So those of you out there in HRD and executive coaching, I really would guess that organizational trust is going to be a huge topic of corporate leaders and organizational leaders moving forward. Second one is and this is more akin to an article that's going to come out soon from David Bluestein and several other researchers from around the world. I fear that there's going to be what I'm calling a precarity shift that's going to happen. And so the idea of precarious work has really been coming to the forefront in the past decade, mostly using gig economy language or fourth industrial revolution language. I think now that more privileged or higher paid or white collar or well-off workers are feeling precariousness as well, as we have these huge changes in the world of work because of COVID-19. I think that I already sense that our focus is starting to slip away from what's been deemed essential workers in the United States, which are workers that don't have the full benefits of employment, that don't make a living wage of employment. So a lot of the idea of precarity, even with the gig economy, is Uber drivers, Airbnb, things where you are not making enough money typically to thrive in the 21st century world of work. And so as we shift to, will college students be able to go to college or graduate or get internships or get jobs, or laid off workers from corporate entities and government entities, that's a whole privilege set that has many more resources available to them and has been making a much better living. As they feel precarity, I sense that we're going to tend to forget about or not focus on the fact that huge parts of the workforce never were making enough money to have a thriving life, never had that sense of stability. The third thing I would like to talk about is what I'm calling, and I'll borrow language from Jim Bright and Robert Pryor, the phase shifts that we would expect. And so I don't know what the world of work is going to look like, right? Uh, as an example, will the United States embrace contact tracing like other countries have around the world? If so, that might create tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs in a new field. At the same time, I would think that we're going to see some segments, maybe tourism or corporate real estate, because more people are likely to stay at home, are going to diminish. And so what we're going to do is a phase is something that is coming and going in waves. And so I think in both education, higher education, public education, and the labor market, I can't predict what's going to happen, but I would have a strong inclination to think that we're going to go through rolling phases of changes to the future world of work. The last thought, and I'm sorry if this video is a bit long, is the idea of the discourse of change in our politics. Someone said to me today that the upcoming election in the United States is the most important, and I agree for many reasons, but I don't see the point of view of either the right or left party in the US, Republicans and Democrats, really looking at some of the experiments of change that are actually happening. So the United States is, and many countries, is experimenting in the idea of universal basic income, in that people that are collecting unemployment insurance for a limited period of time, many are actually making more money from unemployment than if they would go back to their low-wage jobs. And so that's a micro experiment in the idea, or it's really big actually, in the idea of universal basic income. Another example in the United States is cities and governments getting internet providers to provide free internet services to those that can't afford it. Again, that's an experiment in creating a social system in the economy where there is a right to certain things. I don't think that those things are going to change. And as I listen to both the right and left parties in the United States, at least the Democrats and the Republicans, I feel like both are taking more of a corporatist solution mindset. So I hope that these are thought-provoking. I hope that many of my videos have created great conversations, both on and offline, direct message in the past. I try to keep all the videos under 5 minutes, although I believe that I failed with this video. But I'm just really excited to re-engage again. And I would like to thank the dozens of people that have consistently encouraged and asked me to start posting these little Global Career Guy fly on the wall videos. And so until next time, Brian Hutchison, Global Career Guy, signing off.